with West Energy now as a journeyman lineman for 21 years. Been in the training department now for the last 14 to 15 years. And the rodeo has been a great event for me to compete in and come to challenge myself and challenge our co-workers, meet with other utility members throughout the country. And it's just been a great event. And, it talks about safety. That's what we're here for today, is a safety conference. Carl Potter is going to the speakers. We're going to hear from a survivor of an accident later on this morning. So it's great to hear the stories of people who've actually been in the industry. They're going to share their passion and their safety and dedication to the industry to help promote the safety to all the young people coming up into the trade. So it's a great event. We had COVID last year, but they're kicking it off again this year, and hopefully next year it'll actually be a full-blown rodeo. But it's great to be back this year. So
we got to have observations. We got to be looking. We got to have our head on the swivel. Then we got to follow the procedures that we have deemed necessary. Then, last but not least, is the PPE. That's the last thing. If all that other stuff screws up, hopefully the PPE will save your life. Hopefully. That's it. It doesn't bother me a damn bit to use this stuff. I grew up with it. It's normal to me. And the old guy's going, hey, you know what? I'm 57 years old. Don't tell anybody, but I'm glad we're using this stuff because I don't want to fall off this damn pole. And I ain't who it used to be. And when they admit it, but it's ego. It's bravado. You've got to have some bravado to be a lineman. You've got to have some. When the wind is blowing up your crest at 30 knots and you're on a pole and you're in a snowstorm and you're trying to get people's lights back on, it takes some bravado. There's got to be something, but it's got to be in check. Would you agree? It's got to be in check. We got to be careful. It doesn't bother me a damn bit to use this stuff. I grew up with it. It's normal to me. And the old guy's going, hey, you know what? I'm 57 years old. Don't tell anybody, but I'm glad we're using this stuff because I don't want to fall off this damn pole. And I ain't who it used to be. And when they admit it, but it's ego. It's bravado. You've got to have some bravado to be a lineman. You've got to have some. When the wind is blowing up your crest at 30 knots and you're on a pole and you're in a snowstorm and you're trying to get people's lights back on, it takes some bravado. There's got to be something, but it's got to be in check. Would you agree? It's got to be in check. We got to be careful.
14 years at this time. 14 years. Don't think you can't get complacent. Don't think you can't get overconfident, boys. I promise you can. And it happens really fast. We're good at what we do. We are the professionals at what we do. There's nobody like us. We are what we are. But don't let that go to your head to the point to think that you're infallible, that you can't make a mistake in this line of work. I always got told you get one mistake in this line of work, and that's the day you got hired. All right? You got no more. That's it. That's all you got.
I need to talk to you. And I said, okay, go ahead. And he's like, well, you need to come with me. Zach's been in an accident. And I kind of laughed. I was like, okay, whatever. It's kind of not really a funny joke, but I thought he was being silly. And he had to tell me 3 different times. He said, seriously, we need to go. Life Flight has been called. They're on their way. We need to get going. And so I just kind of stood there staring at him and realized he's being serious. And so I just kind of went into autopilot. I took my stethoscope off, walked back to the break room. I just set it down. I picked up my purse and I walked out. I didn't even say anything to anybody. I looked at one of the nurses I was training and I said, sorry, I gotta go. And we left. Nelson asked if we wanted just to try to go to Vanderbilt and be there when Zach gets there, or we could try to get there before Life Flight landed. So I got in the truck with him because I knew I couldn't drive. There's no way. So we went and we actually made it back to Old White Glove Sub or wherever. I guess it was at the firewall. I don't know. Got there before Life Flight had landed. It was circling. So I was able to walk over to the ambulance and see him. And when I looked in, he was sitting there and his face was down, but I seen his left hand and the skin just looked like this ashy white just hanging off of his hand, and his face was the same. I did not see his left hand. They had it covered up in forearm.
Right.
Right. Oh yeah. Sorry. Sorry. His right hand.
Got it.
And I looked at him, and I regret even saying this. It was stupid. But I looked at him and I said, "Are you okay?" And he looked over at me. He said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Okay." And so I believed him. Like, he was calm, so I thought, okay, this is not any reason for me to overreact. And so about that time is when Lifeline landed, and they said, "You have to go." And so I got back in the truck with Nelson and headed up to Vanderbilt. And I did not see him again until later that evening, probably about 8 o'clock at night, so hours later. And he did not look the same at all. Well, his head was like the size of a basketball. You couldn't see any feature on his face at all. His ears were huge. It was, startling, I guess would be the word.
That's nicely